Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. I hope you are well wherever you are in the world. Now, as you know, I have used almost every Fujifilm camera as a professional photographer. And I've been using the Fujifilm X-T5 for over a year now. With its fusion of classic design and advanced technology, this camera stands out for wedding and street photography, in my opinion. In my experience, it combines the best of its predecessors while introducing new features that elevate photography. Here it is. And oh, by the way, this is a new bag I've just got. It's called a Watercraft Pilot. Amazing little street photography bag, which I'll be using all the time on the streets. But we're not here to talk about bags. We're here to talk about the Fujifilm X-T5. And in this video, I will share why the X-T5 has become my camera of choice for my work and how it compares to other models like the X-T4, the X-H2 and the X-H2S. I'll also be sharing a lot of photos along the way. Okay, let's start with the design and ergonomics of the camera. The design of the X-T range is something I've come to appreciate slowly over time. I mean, I still actually prefer the X Pro range in style, but we haven't seen an update in that model for quite some time now, and we're stuck with the X Pro 3, which is a couple of generations behind. The X-T5 is a return to the more compact form factor of the X-T3, which I find ideal for my street and wedding photography work. The tactile dials and buttons are thoughtfully placed for intuitive access, allowing me to adjust settings without losing focus on my subject. This aspect is a subtle but significant improvement over the X-T4, which had a slightly bulkier build, making the X-T5 more comfortable for prolonged use. Compared to the X-H2 and the X-H2S, the X-T5 retains a more classic style, which I find less intimidating for subjects, a crucial factor in candid photography, especially wedding photography. The grip, button layout and overall ergonomics of the X-T5 feel more refined, catering to a seamless shooting experience. The ability to have the focus switch at my fingertips on the X-T5 is the very reason I sold my X-H2S as soon as the X-T5 was available. I just rely on switching between focus modes so much that I just never got on with the X-H2 at all. For me, the X-H2 cameras that I bought were an expensive mistake, though I do know, of course, lots of people who use those cameras and use them very well. Okay, so let's talk about the key features and performance of the X-T5. At the heart of the X-T5 is its 40.2 megapixel X-Trans CMOS sensor. This high-res sensor is a significant leap from the 26.1 megapixel sensor of the X-T4. The increased resolution allows for capturing finer details, which is paramount for me in wedding photography, where, obviously every detail matters. From the intricate patterns on a wedding dress to the subtle emotions in a candid moment, it's really, really important. In contrast, the X-H2 also sports a 40 megapixel sensor, but with a different focus on high-res needs, while as the X-H2S leans more towards speed with a 26 megapixel sensor. For my work, the X-T5 perfectly balances resolution and speed. The autofocus system of the X-T5 with its improved speed and accuracy is a big step up from the X-T4. This is especially noticeable in low light conditions and when tracking moving subjects, a common scenario in wedding receptions and when shooting on the streets. The X-T5's autofocus system is comparable to the X-H2 and the X-H2S, but I find its implementation more intuitive for the spontaneous photography I often engage in. The in-body image stabilization, IBIS, in the X-T5 offers 6.5 stops of shake reduction, and this feature has been pretty invaluable for me, actually, allowing for handheld shooting in low light situations without compromising that image sharpness as much as possible. The XH2 and XH2S have similar IBIS capabilities, of course, but the lighter body of the X-T5 makes it more agile for handheld use. Now, battery life on mirrorless cameras of all flavors has been a talking point for well over a decade. Battery life is crucial, of course, for wedding photographers, and here the X-T5 performs brilliantly with, I would say, a marginal improvement over the X-T4, but a big improvement over the X-T3. However, compared to the XH2 and the XH2S, the X-T5 offers a more balanced energy consumption, which is essential during long wedding shoots or extended day-long street photography sessions. I very rarely need more than one battery for a 10-hour wedding day. From a lens pairing point of view, Fujifilm's lens ecosystem is rich and diverse, and the X-T5's improved AF system enhances the performance of these lenses, especially the new linear motor lenses. For wedding photography, the 56mm f1.2, the new version, and the 18mm 1.4, again the new version, are my go-to lenses for their exceptional low-light performance. For street photography, if I'm not using my X100V, I rely on the 18mm for its wide-angle view and the fast aperture. It allows me to capture the essence of the streets that I'm photographing. I've also recently been using the Viltrox 27mm f1.2 lens, which I did a video on recently. I'll link to it for you here. And that's actually a really good choice, especially if you're on a bit of a tight budget. Compared to the X-T4, the X-T5's higher resolution sensor makes these lenses shine even more, I think, bringing out the sharpness and the clarity in each shot. The X-T5 also offers extensive customization options, of course, allowing me to tailor the camera to my specific needs. I've set up custom profiles for different conditions, and bracketing features are more advanced in the X-T5 than the X-T4 also. And that's particularly useful in street photography, where capturing the perfect moment with sharp focus is, usually very important. From an editing perspective, the RAW files in the X-T5 with their improved dynamic range and color profiles offer more flexibility for me. I find Adobe Lightroom to be particularly effective for Fujifilm files, bringing out the best in my wedding and street photography work. I know that other people use Capture One and various other software tools available as well. The X-T5's files provide more detail and latitude for editing though, and the X-T4, I'd say they are on a par with the high-res files from the XH2. Okay, let's talk about the tilt screen conundrum. On my podcast, the FujiCast, and I'll link to that below, we had a huge amount of people moan about the vari-angle tilt screen on the X-T4. To that end, Fujifilm went back to the same tilt screen found in the X-T3 for this iteration. Now, personally for me, this is one of the drawbacks of the X-T5. I much preferred the tilt screen on the X-T4. For me, it was more dynamic and I could use it as a reference monitor when filming stuff like this. And the tilt screen on the X-T5, in my opinion, is a step backwards, not forwards. Though, I do seem to be in the minority with that view, and I get that. I do really love the fact that the electronic shutter now goes up to 180,000th of a second. X-T4, I think, was capped at 132,000th of a second. I love shooting things like the confetti run wide open on the 56mm lens, so this gives me plenty of latitude for that, even on very bright sunny days. It's also got a higher resolution LCD compared to the X-T4, which now that I need to wear spectacles is nice to have, of course. Oh, and the native ISO now goes down to 125, which is marginally better than the 160 on the previous cameras. Now, I never use face detection when shooting stills, but I do for video, and it never misses a beat on the X-T5. It's also got all the new funky animal eye detection and vehicle detection and all of that kind of stuff. Again, I never use it, but I suppose it's nice to have it there for those that do need it. So transitioning to the Fujifilm X-T5 has been a significant step for me as a professional wedding photographer that's been used to using the rangefinder style cameras. Its balance of high resolution, advanced autofocus and video capabilities, along with its compact form, make it ideal for wedding and street photography. The X-T5 stands out not only against its predecessors like the X-T4, but also holds its own compared to the X-H2 and the X-H2S. So I hope you've enjoyed that little video. If you have enjoyed it, please do leave comments below. I will do my best to answer all of them. Like and subscribe, and I shall see you next time.